Hey everybody, this is RRPG here, and I'm here to deliver to you my own thoughts about this news story from what this analyst has brought up about Nintendo and the forthcoming of the Wii U. The game you are currently looking at right now is Super Mario Galaxy 2 for the Nintendo Wii. It is truly a spectacle and Nintendo's biggest key franchise, and it is my all-time favorite 3D Mario game, next in line to the greatness that is known as Super Mario 64. It is a sequel to Super Mario Galaxy from 2007, and both games have managed to achieve universal critical acclaim upon their release. Of course, I did a review of both games in 2010, so you ought to go back and check them out on my YouTube channel. They are pretty in-depth and very enjoyable to watch if you're into that kind of thing. Alright, let us get on with today's topic that is at hand. As many of you probably already know, analysts like Michael Pachter have been painting some really grim pictures for Nintendo's future because of them bringing in their next-generation console, the Wii U. Hopefully, it'll be a new name because we need something strong that will represent a console that is aiming to bring back the hardcore crowd, but that's aside from the point. An analyst from Jon Peddie Research by the name of Ted Polak has made an analysis on Nintendo's situation, and he believes that the Big N will do just fine with the Wii U. This is what he stated from a quote that he put out just recently. This is a recurring theme. Technology changes and Nintendo looks like they are falling behind. Nintendo always claims that their focus is on gameplay. However, they actually have a smart technology strategy that most people don't detect. To understand this, we need to go back in time a little. The original Wii was designed for standard definition televisions, and when released, there were 98 standard definition TV households for every high definition TV household. Now we are faced with fantastic and powerful consoles coming from Sony and Microsoft that will drive high frame rates for 1080p resolution and much higher for 3D. However, if we look at the installed base of HD televisions globally, we may find a very large portion of them are 720p, and those displays were the first adopted and the first discounted. So for many people, the new Sony and Microsoft offerings may be an overkill for their current television capability. Combine this with Nintendo's proven gameplay quality, the unique tablet controller, and NFC technology that goes hand in hand with their IP, and I think Nintendo will do just fine with the Wii U. However, Polak doesn't think that it's an automatic success for Nintendo alone with the console. But with that said, they must have a solid launch slate of titles and all online features enabled from the get-go, or they will face the same stumbling start that the 3DS experienced. From what Ted Polak is stating from this quote he put down, I have to agree with him wholeheartedly on the whole thing. Technology changing is definitely a recurring theme that we have seen within every decade. When something new is announced on the table, many believe that the certain company who makes a new device is bound to fail in due time. Of course, many people believe that negativity is what makes the sales of that technology become very imminent, but I believe that is the sensationalism that is talking from their spirits. When it comes to Nintendo, they are heavily focused on gameplay because they are also a game developer instead of one that just makes consoles and peripherals all the time. So they have to put in so much focus on making games as much as they have to put in so much focus on making newer technology. And I applaud the direction that both Shigeru Miyamoto and Satoru Iwata have stood by when Iwata became president in 2002 for Nintendo. The reason why they went for that focus within their company is because Miyamoto and Iwata started out as game developers for Nintendo, and their philosophy is not about to change anytime soon. They have to focus on the games as much as when focusing on the technology, because in order to sell hardware, they have to supply a good amount of software to sell to the consumer. That's the main reason why the 3DS launch did not go over so well last year. It was because the device launched without a strong lineup of games for both the hardcore and casual divisions of the consumer. That is why the NES and SNES were very successful, because Nintendo managed to achieve those things from the past. Anyway, I do believe that Nintendo is truly playing it safe when it comes to their strategy behind the technology, the pricing, and the software this time around. If the 3DS launch wasn't a big awakening for Nintendo, then I don't know what was. The other thing I like to mention about the quote is how Ted Polak mentions that the majority of the household within society from around the world held standard definition TVs from the past, while they own more of high definition TVs as of now. I agree with what he is saying about that, because if you look back at when companies like Sony and Microsoft made the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, they were ridiculously priced because of the console jumping ship to HD with all that powerful technology. and that many consumers didn't have HD TVs in their houses at the time. It's very evident as to why they are suffering from losses every year, and how they did not think the right way when they launched those systems many years ago. So there has to be a strategy for where the consoles are going to go depending on what the majority of the households have between SD TVs and HD TVs. The Wii was the console that sold the most during this generation, because Nintendo was thinking very smart about where they wanted to approach their next consoles based on the ratio between SD TV and HD TV in this generation. Of course, when the sales of the system started to sink within the later years, that didn't stop them from putting out more games, so they had to do some other things to make up to the consumer from not doing anything. It makes sense. For those complaining that it was their fault for not jumping ship to HD the first time around, needs to have their ears cleaned. Powerful graphics doesn't mean the games are going to be better. Finally, I would like to mention about what Nintendo needs to achieve to make sure that the Wii U will become a really big success. When it comes to supplying the consumer with a great amount of really good software, they must achieve a great amount of first and third party support. If they work more closely with the third parties and make sure that the technology when developing games satisfies their needs, they will do greatly for years to come. If it turns out to be the complete opposite, then third-party support is going to be extremely limited, and it would mean that the Wii U will end up as another console that is tailored for only the first and second-party divisions. However, third-party developers like Vigil Games, Rocksteady Studios, Nick Callis, and so many others, as well as publishers such as EA, Ubisoft, Sega, Capcom, Konami, Natsume, Namco Bandai, Square Enix, Tecmo Koei, Activision, and so many others have mentioned that the Wii U is a great system for developers to work with to make sure that the games will be incredibly tailor-made. It has also garnered the interest of many legendary game designers such as Keiji Inafune and Hideo Kojima, to name a couple. As you can see, Nintendo is rectifying their past mistakes to make sure that they maintain a strong relationship to the third parties, and it truly seems that they are doing that for both the 3DS and the Wii U. Also, if what is true about Sony and Microsoft's successor consoles putting in DRM and used game lockouts, then I feel that they aren't going to survive for very long, with Nintendo helming the victory once more for this next console race. What is your take on all of this? Do you think Ted Polak puts the other analysts to shame, or do you think there is something else that Nintendo must achieve to make sure that the Wii U needs to be a successful system to launch? Leave a comment in the comment section below and let me know what you guys think. This is RRPG signing off, and thanks for watching.
You